Lesson 44 is about roots and order of operations with exponents and roots. So what we're going to look at first is something that you're already familiar with. We know this problem, 2 to the 4th, is equal to 16. What this is saying is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is equal to 16. That's what our fourth power indicates. We multiply the base number, the 2, by itself 4 times in order to get our answer, 16. Now, if we look at a problem like this, it looks a little bit different. This is kind of like a square root problem, except it has a 4 here. This problem is saying, what is the fourth root of 16? And the answer, what is the fourth root of 16? Well, the fourth root of 16 is going to be equal to 2, because this question is asking, what number do we have to multiply by itself 4 times in order to get to 16? And of course we know that 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is equal to 16. So we get our final answer here. Our final answer must be 2. If we look at a problem in a different way, let's say we had a different problem. Let's say we've got the third root of 8. We're saying what number times itself 3 times is equal to 8. And you might know right off the bat that 2 times 2 times 2 is equal to 8. So our answer, the third root of 8, that's going to be equal to 2. And we have our final answer. Let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. Let's read the following radical expressions. So this is called a radical expressions, okay, or a radical expression. These are radical expressions, plural. And this one, this first one would be the square root of 16. And it's called the square root of 16 because we're looking for what number times itself is equal to 16. And we're just going to write the square root of 16. If there's no number here, a 2 is implied. So we know that the square root of 16 is equal to 4. Now this one, if we read it, would be read as the third root of 27. And if we have the third root of 27, that means what number multiplied by itself 3 times is equal to 27? Think about that for a moment. Well, it must be 3, because 3 times 3 times 3 is equal to 27. So we'd have our answer. If we wanted to sneak our answer in here, write it real small, we've got room, the third root of 27 will be equal to 3. Now our next problem, the fifth root of 32, okay, the fifth root of 32, if we wanted to solve that one, well, what number times itself 5 times is equal to 32? Well, let's check on 2. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. We're starting with 2 because, well, 1 times 1 5 times is just 1. 2 is our next smallest number that we could choose. Let's do the first 2 2's first, that's 4. The next 2 2's is 4. We know 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times our last 2, 16 times 2 is equal to 32. So our answer here is going to be, our answer is going to be the fifth root of 32. Hopefully you were catching that as I was writing it, is equal to 2. Because of what we see right here, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 32. And we can move on to the next question. Alright, simplify the third root of 27. Well, the third root of 27 we just saw, that one was 3, because 3 times 3 times 3 is equal to 27. Our next problem, the fourth root of 81. If we want to solve the fourth root of 81, well, we're going to have to say what number times itself 4 times is equal to 81. Well, a helpful piece here is that we know 9 times 9 is equal to 81. But the answer is not 9, because that's 9 times 9, only twice. We need something 4 times. But if we know this, it should have been 81. If we know this, that 9 times 9 is 81, and we want something 4 times, we can break the 9's into 3's. 3 times 3, and 3 times 3. So if we say 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, that's the same as saying 9 times 9, which is 81. So our answer is going to have to be 3. And we're all done. We've got our second answer. Let's move on to the next slide. Alright, let's simplify. we've got 1 to the 5th power. Now, remember, that means 1 times 1 times 1, and we're going to do that 5 times. And 1 times itself is always going to be equal to 1, so 1 to the 5th power must be equal to 1. Now problem B is very similar, except we're saying what is the third root of 1. So we're asking what number times itself 3 times is equal to 1. What number is it? Say it out loud. Hopefully you said 1, because 1 times 1 times 1, that's 1 3 times, is going to be equal to 1. So our answer is 1. And we're all done with problem B. Now we can apply these types of problems in a question like this. We're going to have to think about our order of operations, so we can write that down the side. We don't need that open anymore. Let's have P-E-M D-A-S. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses, exponents, multiply and divide, add and subtract. So we're going to do everything in parentheses first. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 plus 8 is 9. So we're going to get 4 times 9 plus 2 squared, that means 2 times 2, that's 4, minus the third root of 27. So remember, 3 times 3 times 3 is equal to 27. So our answer is going to be 3 plus 12 divided by 2. Now we could do that division. 12 divided by 2, that must be 6. And we can continue on. 4 times 9 is 36, plus 4, minus 3, plus 6. Remember, if we have both addition and subtraction in the same problem, we're always going to work from left to right. 36 plus 4 is 40. Then we have 40 minus 3, plus 6. 40 minus 3, that's 37. And 37 plus 6, 37 plus 6, that gives us our final answer of 43. We're all done. We've completed this problem. We don't need to go on any further. If you have a question, go ahead and write it down. We're going to practice this some more on our lesson practice, page 146. If you have any questions, go ahead and write them down. Make sure you've got your notes completed, and I'll see you during our next class.